All right, guys, welcome back to this sixth and final key knowledge dot point of the first outcome of Unit 2. And we're looking here at the use of external professionals. So here is our study design as always, and there is the key knowledge dot point. I know it's kind of out of sync. We normally go in order, but the reason this one is the sixth one I'm covering here is because this is the only one they added to the study design from the previous study design, and they put it in at number 2. And I'd already done the videos for the previous ones, so I've just slotted in this as number 6, but all the 5 previous videos are sitting there in the YouTube channel anyway. So this is number 6, even though it's the second key knowledge dot point. But anyway, we cover all the content anyway. So what is this one all about? Use of external professionals. So look, the business landscape today, look, it always has been, but probably these days even more so, is extremely complex. And for a new business owner can be just an absolute minefield, right? And also the range of advice being offered by external professionals can also be kind of overwhelming. Now, in outcome 1.2, put your mind back there, we looked at something called business support services. And there you see the key knowledge dot point. Business support services such as legal, financial, blah, blah, blah. Now, really the focus there was access to either free or very low cost advice and resources in terms of getting information about starting your business. Now, remember, think about the average person that runs a cafe, okay? Often they're like a passionate chef or cook, and, food is their passion, but running a business is not something they have expertise in. They're really great at cooking, but turning that into an actual operating business is a different thing. And that's what kind of all this is about, and there's more to running a successful cafe than just being able to cook. Okay, so you're not going to have necessarily all of the knowledge that you need, the knowledge and expertise you need to run a business. So that's what all of this stuff is about. So like I said, back in outcome 1.2, we looked at the free or very low cost sort of services you can access, which, if you're starting a new business, you'd be kind of crazy to not access those because of the low cost or because they're free. But that might not cover everything you need. So what we're doing here, this is taking it to the next level. So now we're actually starting our business. And, we've explored all those options, community-based, formal, informal networks, business mentors and all that. But we still might need more. You probably are going to need more. So this is all about kind of taking it to the next level and the role of additional professional services that can provide advice in areas where we need some high level expertise that we do not have ourselves. Okay. And generally this is paid for stuff. That's kind of the key difference between what we're talking about here and what we're talking about in that earlier key knowledge dot point in outcome 1.2. Hopefully that makes some sense. So we're going to look at a few kind of different categories. The study design doesn't specify. In fact, what does it say in the study design? Just an overview of external professionals. It doesn't tell us what professionals or what type of advice. So I'm just going to kind of give some pretty standard stuff that you could use in answers. All right. So first off, legal advice. Now, obviously, you could just go to a lawyer. Okay. Look on Google, a local lawyer, particularly one focusing on corporate law rather than, say, family law, and, pay your money and go make an appointment, so on and so forth, which is fine. But it is useful to know this is where you'd want to start, right? The Law Institute of Victoria, the VLI, offers a legal referral service, right, where business owners needs are matched with a lawyer with expertise in that particular area. So that's the number one kind of advantage of this. Now, all the major law firms contribute to this, and basically what they do is offer a zero-cost 30-minute initial interview. Okay, so you'll meet with someone, and what they then do is discuss what your options are in managing a specific legal issue or whatever drama you're having, what advice you need. And then what they do is then advise on the likely actions required, the costs involved, and then put you in touch, like I say, with this specialist, right? So this is worth pursuing before just picking up the phone and calling a lawyer, because you get this half an hour consultation for free which then puts you in touch with a person that can help you with your specific issue. So it's a free starting point. So that's where I would be starting with legal advice rather than just picking up the phone and calling a lawyer. Okay. So that's your legal advice. That's what I'd be doing. Financial advice. Now, look, there's lots of different types of financial advice you might be interested in. So you've got accountants that you can use to prepare your financial statements, monitor your banking, follow up on payments, giving general financial advice. You might access a bookkeeper who maintains the day-to-day running of the financial kind of activities of the business. There's something called a business activity statement that needs to be prepared each year, and you can contact a BAS agent to do that, and they can prepare and lodge a statement with the ATO for you. You can talk to your bank manager about loan applications, managing your business bank accounts, providing advice on the feasibility of your business opportunity, which we looked at earlier, or expanding the business. And then the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office, anything regarding taxation, you go to their website and there's a ton of free accessible information, again, to use as a starting point. Okay, so lots of different types of advice that you can seek, these different places you can go for it. Now, one question I often get, because I've got on that one, accountant and bookkeeper. What is the difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper? I don't think you'd be necessarily asked this question, but it's worth noting down just so you kind of have a difference in your own mind. Look, bookkeeping is kind of, let's say, the starting point of accountancy. Bookkeeping, the focus is on recording and organizing all the financial information, and accounting is all about interpreting and presenting that information. Okay, so there's two different ways on the screen there to kind of describe the difference. So looking at the second one there, bookkeeping is responsible for documenting financial transactions, so just making sure they happen and recording them. But accounting is all about understanding, arranging, analyzing, and reporting on that information, and then using that information to make decisions, basically. Okay, so you can be a bookkeeper or you can be an accountant. That's the difference in focus. And also because of the nature of what I just explained, qualifications and salary. Accountants generally they're much more qualified than bookkeepers, and they earn much more money generally as well. So you might hire one or both, but yeah, just to explain the difference between accounting and bookkeeping, because that sometimes does crop up. Look, what I would do is go to the Business Victoria website. Again, everything is done online these days, as a starting point. And there's so much free information just to use to access the resources. So I know I said this is about paid services, but this kind of puts you in the right direction. So you can access here, support for Victorian businesses, find an accountant, and so on and so forth. Just click through the links and it will put you in touch with people in your location that have expertise with your type of business, so on and so forth. So that's one way to do this. Other types of marketing, so we've kind of done legal and financial. Other types of advice that you're going to pay for, marketing. Okay, so you might contact a marketing or advertising agency. Talk a bit more about that in a minute. They can help with developing campaigns to build your brand. They can advise on the best ways to reach, engage with, and retain your customers. Evaluate any current marketing campaigns you've got going on and maybe advise on improvements to those. And then coming up, creating and implementing marketing campaigns across a range of platforms, which is becoming more of a thing. I'm talking here about the growing digital spaces, social media, so on and so forth. Huge industry now in social media marketing, and a lot of people out there making a lot of money doing it. So again, you could just do a Google search, marketing agencies, and click through here. There's so many out there. My advice would be, look, if you've known someone or have a contact in business that has used a particular agency, because like anything, there's probably, some good ones, not so good ones. So I would be going on personal referrals if I could. If not, I'd be looking at good review sites in terms of which one I'm actually going to go with, because there's a huge range. The next type of advice, advertising. So I've just talked about marketing, and now I'm talking about advertising. Now, at this stage, you might be thinking, well, that's the same thing, okay? The average person on the street thinks marketing and advertising, the two terms are interchangeable. It's the same thing. It isn't. Our next Outcome 2 in Unit 2 is all about marketing. And we'll get into this a little bit more then. But basically, advertising is one aspect of marketing. Marketing is a much broader kind of range of activities and disciplines, and advertising is one part of that. So advertising and marketing, on this course, you don't use those two terms interchangeably. So coming back to this one here, so advertising agencies, again, they can help you with developing products. Advertising campaigns, an advertising campaign is not necessarily a marketing campaign. Again, marketing campaign is kind of a broader thing. And they might be able to make recommendations about the best media streams for specific campaigns. So which social media sites you want to hit, so on and so forth. Just to demonstrate, like this is a huge industry. Okay, so Accenture Interactive. Now, Accenture is a huge global professional services firm. They, provide accounting, management, consulting, all sorts of services. They just keep adding on services as we go through the years. But yeah, global company. But Accenture Interactive is basically their digital marketing arm of the business. So that part of the business just focuses on digital marketing for their clients, and they earn revenues in 2022 of $62 billion. Okay, so that's a huge amount of money, and that's just digital advertising, digital marketing. That's not even overall marketing. So this is a really, really growing area. Of course, a few years ago, that revenue stream for Accenture wouldn't even existed because digital marketing wasn't a thing. It just shows how quickly, since the advent of the internet, since the advent of social media and all that stuff has kind of blown up, how quickly this industry has grown. So you could go to one of these big firms, but there's lots of small players in the market that can provide these services also probably much cheaper. Deloitte Digital again. Deloitte, a global professional services company. And again, 59 billion just from Deloitte Digital, which is their digital marketing arm. Okay, so just to demonstrate, PwC, 50 billion. Just to demonstrate, like this is a huge, huge business. It's a huge thing, a huge industry. And look, it's an area that, as students now, at the upper end of high school, more and more students are looking at these areas as, areas to go into. You can now do courses in this. There'll be degrees in this stuff. Digital marketing, kind of the way of the future. Another type of advice you can seek out, again, you can be paying for this, insurance. So you can go to insurance specialists and they can advise you on managing the risk within your business, and appropriate types of insurances you could take out to offset that risk. And they can also then sell you any relevant insurance that you might need within your particular business. Now, and I'm just going to point out something here. Insurance works in a couple of ways. You can talk to an insurance agent that works for one insurance company and they will sell you only that insurance company's products. So, for example, all the logos you see there, you've probably heard of most of those. QBE, I'm not sure you would have, but probably most of those you've heard of. Budget Trades, Amy, you would have heard of those. So these are insurance companies, and they will, if you contact those companies, they will sell you their insurance products. Okay. Whereas insurance brokers, they're kind of like a middleman between the customer and the insurance company. Okay, so they work either for themselves or for an insurance brokerage, and they work as agents to the person or the business seeking insurance, and then they go and find insurance with insurance companies, like talking to different insurance companies on behalf of their client. Okay, so there are some insurance brokerages, you probably haven't heard of those. Okay, so private individual people can also contact brokerages, but businesses often do this because then they're paying someone to go out and find them the best insurance. Okay, so it's more common to do this in a business context than as a private citizen, if you like. But just to understand the difference between an insurance agent and a broker. I mean, one thing, you do have to be careful with brokers because they sometimes, although theoretically they go out and talk to the different insurance companies to get you the best deal, so on and so forth, the reality is a lot of them, if they're not officially tied to certain insurance companies, so they're going to focus on them more than others, often there's kickbacks coming to them. If they get a client to go with a certain insurance company, they can get a kickback from that. So it's a bit of a minefield in and of itself. But anyway, point being, there's a couple of options. You can approach an insurance agent, insurance broker to get all of your insurance needs sorted out. Fourth one, ICT. Again, this is growing because pretty much all businesses now incorporate ICT to some degree. What they can do is help you select the right technology, the right software, the right hardware setups, and all the systems that you need for your type of business. Again, we're not all technology experts, so you can pay someone to come on board and say, right, you say, this is the business, what I'm trying to do, this is my plans, and they'll advise you on what kind of setup you need that's going to help you to do that. They could train staff, or you, if you are the only member of staff, if you don't yet have staff, in using those systems. And then, of course, they can provide an ongoing backup and support with all of the technology-related areas of the business. And you're going to pay for each individual part of this, Like if you just wanted help in selecting systems and installing them, that's done. But if you then want the ongoing backup and support, which probably you do, then you're going to pay for that on an ongoing basis as well. So like I said, all this stuff is paid for. It's a part of what you're going to be doing when you're going out accessing these services, kind of shopping around and trying to get the best deals as well. Graphic design and printing. Okay, so businesses, you have letterheads, you have logos, pamphlets, business cards, so on and so forth. There are businesses out there that will do this for you. Now, I think the thing with this is access or printer, home printer and office printer technology is so advanced these days that a lot of small businesses are actually even able to do this themselves rather than paying fairly expensive rates to get all this done. But it's an option for you. And if you're going to be doing this in really large volumes, several thousand at a time, then probably doing it on home or office-based printers is not so economical. So you might go this route. But again, to know that these businesses exist out there that can help you with sorting all of this sort of stuff out. And that is it, nice and simple. So a few different areas in which you can access paid support, advice, help for your new business. And that's it. So that is also it now, of course, for the outcome. Okay, so that's it now for all of outcome 1. Make sure you've got a really good set of notes for each of those 6 key knowledge dot points, which you will use to prepare for the SAC. And I will see you next time at the beginning of outcome 2, which, like I said before, is going to be on marketing, which is, I think, a little bit more interesting than most of this outcome we've just covered here, which is a little bit dry, to be fair. Anyway, I will see you then. Cheers for now.